Welcome to the podcast, Let the Prophet Speak. Today we are going to study the prophet Ezekiel, that's the Navi Ezekiel, chapter 7. We just finished chapter 6 in our previous podcast, in which we continued with the prophecies of destruction, which form the first third of the book of Ezekiel. And unfortunately, we are going to be forced to read through many more chapters that are not pleasant to read, that are difficult to read, as they discuss terrible destruction. It's important to remember that in this process, the Navi Ezekiel is trying to convince the people of something which they refuse to be convinced of. He's trying to predict the destruction of Jerusalem, but the people refuse to accept that their destruction of Jerusalem, is imminent. The people that Ezekiel is speaking to are the people that are in Babylon, and they think that they're the ones who were banished, they're the ones who are lost, and that they're the ones who will not survive. Their assumption is that they are going to eventually disappear as Jews and eventually assimilate into Babylon over the coming generations, while those that are still in Jerusalem, living where the temple stands, are going to be the ones that continue the Jewish people, and they can't even foresee or imagine that the temple will ever be destroyed. Ezekiel is trying to convince the people that destruction is about to come. The people of Jerusalem will be destroyed, as he mentioned several times. The three-thirds, the one-third is going to die of starvation and plague. One-third is going to die of the sword. Another third is going to be exiled, and of those that are exiled, many are going to end up dying anyway, and only a small number will get out of Jerusalem, and that the temple will be destroyed. This is something that people refuse to accept. So in each chapter, the drum beats of destruction, the words of destruction that are coming from the prophet, telling the people that no, Jerusalem is about to be destroyed, gets stronger and stronger, and he keeps on employing different methods of doing this. I would like to refer to something that the prophet Jeremiah said. Remember, who was also prophesying at this very similar time, not similar, the same time, however, he was in Israel at the time, in Jerusalem, together with the people there that unfortunately were then believing the same thing. We're also believing that destruction is not going to come. I'm going to reference Jeremiah 24, but I'm going to get back to that as we approach the end of this chapter. The reason why I'm going to get back to it there is because I would like to try and end with some words of consolation, because this upcoming chapter is going to be difficult to read. So let's go ahead. Verse 1, Vayihi dvar Adonai elai lemar, and the word of God to me was as follows. V'ata, and you, Ven Adam, human being, Ko Amar Adonai Elohim, so says the Lord your God, Li'admas Yisrael Kates. To the land of Israel there is a Kates, there is a time, there is an end. Now this is a word that brings up the word of the words from Genesis prior to the great flood, where God says Kates, uses the language of Kates. There is an end. The world will. There is a time of end. So he was deliberately using this word Kates, which will come up over and over and over again. Remember, Ezekiel in the last chapter referred back to the words of rebuke from Leviticus directly, and deliberately used phrases and terms in order to remind the people that God spoke of such things before. And he said deliberately again using the word Kates in order to remind people of another destruction of the flood, in order again to remind the people that this destruction is real. It is something that's real. This is not something that's unheard of. Bo hakates, the time has come, al arba kanfos haaretz, over the entire four corners of the earth. This is interesting because he's really only predicting the destruction of Jerusalem. Why does he say that the time has come for all four corners of the earth? One way of understanding is haaretz here is referring to the land of Israel. Arba kanfos haaretz, meaning all four corners of the land of Israel, meaning not just Jerusalem will be destroyed, but the entire land will be destroyed. Another being that the destruction of as the people are scattered across the land, across the entire world, as Ezekiel has stated several times, that destruction and the impact of the destruction will spread across the entire earth. Verse 3, Atoh haketz olayech, now the time is upon you. The time is upon you now, Yechezkel the Navi tells us. Not tomorrow, not later, but the destruction is occurring right now. The people he's speaking to are in Babylon. They might be imagining that in Israel, Jerusalem, maybe some sort of great miracle is happening and the temple is going to be saved. Or they don't know, but however, Yechezkel is saying the decline, the destruction of the temple is occurring now. V'shilachti apibach, I have sent, or I will send my anger against you. Ushifatich kidurachayach, I will judge you according to your ways. It's time to pay up. You can't just be sinners and assume that you will never have to pay the price. Justice can and will, and it's coming now. All of your disgusting abominations, I'm going to put them upon you against you, meaning I will make you pay what you're responsible to pay for those crimes. I will not have mercy upon you. I will not have compassion for you. Because I am placing your own ways upon you. It is tit for tat. This is a just punishment. And your abominations will be within you, meaning you will have to pay for the price for them. And you will know that I am God. When you experience these punishments, you will fully know and understand that what I'm doing is just, and you will know that therefore it is from me. Verse 5, so says the Lord your God, achas means one. Here probably it means more like I've seen the translation singular, and I'll use that. A singular, a unique evil or disaster or terrible event is coming. Behold, it is coming upon you. This is not just any other little disaster. This is a major cataclysmic disaster. Kates ba, that's because the time has come. Ba ha-kates, the time has come. Ha-hekitz alayach. He's using the same root kates, but here meaning awaken, before meaning the time. But using the same word to remind people of that imagery of utter destruction. It has awakened upon you. Hine ba, behold, it has come, or it is coming. Right, the disaster is coming. Ba'a hatzafira eilecha, the tzefira, which could mean several things. I'm going to use what the Radak's translation here is that it's a circle has come upon you, meaning Yoshev Aretz, you who live in the land of Israel. Remember, what does that mean? A circle meaning something that surrounds you, the punishment that surrounds you, the image of an army laying siege upon you. Yoshev Aretz, you that live in the land. Yechezkel is reminding the people that this destruction is coming against the people that live in the land, meaning the land of Israel, as opposed to the people that live in Babylon. Those that live in Babylon will not be the ones that suffer the destruction. In fact, they will be the ones who survive and end up being the nucleus of the ones that reestablish the temple and the land of Israel in several generations later. Karov Hayom Mahuma, the day of tumultuousness, the day is coming close. V'lo had harim, and in the mountains, what we're hearing is the noise of like muhuma of panic and tumultuousness and disaster, but rather as opposed to the noise of people talking to each other in a more happy way, in a more happy manner. Ata, now mikarov eshpo chamasi alayach. in a very soon manner, very close, really now. Ezekiel is pointing out that prophets have been saying for hundreds of years, it's going to come, it's going to come, it's going to come. Ezekiel is now telling them, no longer is it going to come in some distant, far-off future, maybe, but it is now. Now's the time. It is happening now. Mikaro, very, very soon, I will pour my anger out upon you. I will pour out my wrath upon you. I'm going to judge you according to your ways. This emphasis over and over again that this is just. I will place upon you all of your abominations. This is repetitive, but he's just trying to knock the point into people's heads and minds. Unfortunately, as we know, they didn't get the message even with this. I will not have mercy, and I will not have compassion. This is kind of repetitive, but I will place upon you according to your ways, and your abominations will be among you. They will make punishment occur among you, and you will know, because it is so just, because you know that it is just, you will know that I am the God who is the one who is striking you. You will not think this is coming from some foreign place. You'll know very clearly that it is God, and especially since it is me predicting it right now. Hine hayom, hine ba'av, behold, the day is now, the day is coming. Yatza'ah hatzvira. Again, this cycle, or this circle, or this also could mean the cycle of events. What goes around comes around kind of cycle. Tzotz hamateh, the rod has the mateh, the stick, has sprouted forth. Perach hazadon, the zadon meaning iniquity, or specifically the arrogance has budded like a perach, like a flower. This is giving the image of the almond stick in Jeremiah's in the early Jeremiah, in his first prophecy. Jeremiah told us about that the stick, the almond stick blossoming, was a symbol of the upcoming destruction that was coming soon. Hachamas kom lamate rasha. The chamas. So this is again key. This is also going back to the image of the flood, which, as we know, was it was the chamas. It was stealing one from the other. Chamas refers to stealing with strength, where one person overpowers the other and takes what belongs to the other. This chamas, this dishonesty, this people using either their political power or financial strength, or corrupt a legal system, or just their physical brute strength to overpower others that are weaker than them. This kind of corrupt society, kam l'matei resha. It started off as chamas, which was bad enough, but it has become a mate, a stick of wickedness. In other words, this stick that's blossoming is a stick that has become the people themselves, and this wickedness has imbued itself within the people. Lo mehem v'lo mehamonam, v'lo mehemehem v'lo noah bahem. The people that are there, there's nothing that comes from them. Nothing useful comes from them. Nothing useful comes from the large crowds. A large crowd can get together for good purpose, but a large crowd can also get together for weakness, and from their wealth, and from their honor. Noah meaning their honorable positions. Nothing good comes of it. It's all wickedness. Even the flowers that sprout forth from that stick, which represents the evil people that use the stick to harm others, nothing good comes from them. Verse 12, Baha es higiyayom, the time has come, the day has come. Hakona al yismach, someone who buys something new, don't be happy about it, because it's not going to last long. V'hamochar al yisabol, and one who sells, typically one who sells is one who sells out of desperation. You don't need to mourn, ki charono kol hamona, because the anger will go against everyone. You would have lost it anyway. Ki hamochar el hamimkar lo yoshuv, one who sells will never come back to that which he sold. And this is the idea of Yovel. We know that if someone sells a field because they're desperate for money, that when the 50-year jubilee comes around, their family, he will get it back. But this person who's selling, he'll never get it back, because the people are going to be destroyed. And as long as they remain alive, they're never going to get it back, because in their lifetimes they're going to end up seeing destruction. They're not going to see restoration. Ki chazono kol hamono lo yashuv. This vision, which I am now saying, the prophet is saying, is referring to the entire multitude, everyone who lives there. There aren't some people that will see salvation, some people that won't. The land will be destroyed. And each person will die for their own sins, and they will not be strengthened. They will not have a chance to get out of it. The people are evil. As Ezekiel is leaving a little bit of the prophet, a little bit of silver lining here. Ish ba'avono, it is possible for a person to save himself by being righteous, by doing the right thing, but not as in the context of being part of the nation, because the nation will be destroyed. Tak'u batakoa, they are sounding the horn. Batakoa is a place in Israel, so it could mean they are sounding the horn in Tekoa, or it could just mean they are sounding the horn in the places where they sound the horns. V'hachin hakol, and everything is ready. In other words, everything that I'm predicting is ready to happen. Ve'ein holech la'milchama ki charoni al kol ha'ama. But no one is they're sounding the horn to warn people to fight, to protect Jerusalem, but no one's going out to fight, because there is no one to go out to fight, because my anger is against all the people. The destruction is complete. Hacherev bachutz, the sword is coming out, is right outside the city. V'yadever v'yarav mibayis, and the disease and starvation is right here in the house itself. Asher basada b'cherev yamos, those that are out in the fields trying to defend are going to be killed by the sword. Vasher bo'ir, and those that are staying in the city, ra'av v'dever yochalenu, they will be destroyed by hunger and disease. Ufaltu pliteim, a few of their refugees will run and try to escape. V'hayu el harim, they'll run to the mountains. Ki yonei hegei ayot kulam hamos, they will run like the doves that live in the valleys. All of them will be like the doves when they fly together. They all make noise together, crying together. Ish ba'avono. However, again, each person in their own sin. And there's not only a collective punishment, but also individual. And as Ezekiel will point out several times, and already has, that also means that each person can redeem themselves as an individual. Kol hayadayim tirpena, all hands are going to get weak. V'chol berkayim, and all knees telachna mayim, will become like water. They will go like water, meaning they will become weak. They will not give the person's body support. V'chagusakim, people will dress in sackcloth. V'chizosam palatzus, and they will be covered with horrible things. V'yaskol panim busha, faces will be ashamed. There will be no more pride of having been a Jew, a member of the nation of Israel, of having the temple. There will be just shame. V'chol Hashem karcha, and on their heads they will be tearing. Their hair will be torn out. Kaspam bachutzos yashlichu. Their money, their silver will be thrown out into the streets because it will be useless to them. Uzahavam lenida, and their gold will be like something disgusting to them. They will not have any use for the gold. Kaspam uzahavam luyuchal atzivam, all of their money, their gold and silver will not save them. Biyom evrat Adonai, on the day of God's anger, nafsham lo yisabeu, they will not be able to satisfy the hunger of their souls. Ume'ehem lo yimaleu, they will not be able to fill their bellies. Ki michshol avonam michaya, because this is what they've stumbled. This is the stumbling block that they set up with their own sins. Utzivi and edyo ligaon shamahu, and their beautiful edyo, the things they dress themselves up in, whether it's clothing or jewelry, which they made into something they were so proud of, vitsalme to avosam shikutsehem asubo, and then they used them to make forms and images of their disgusting things that they worshipped, and did all kinds of immoral acts in that worship. Alkain, that's what they did with their edyo. Instead of dressing up nicely for good purposes, they dressed up for these disgusting purposes. Alkain nisativ lahem lenida, therefore I'm making them like a nida, which means something that's an outcast, something that's thrown out. Nisativ biyad hazorim lavaz, I'm going to place him, meaning the people, into the hands of the strangers to be abused. The strangers, the foreigners, are going to come and take over Jerusalem. This image is something that people could not imagine back then, that foreigners would take over the temple and take over Jerusalem, but I'm going to give them in the hand of strangers. God is saying, L'rishei haaretz, the evil people of the land will come l'shalol and make Jerusalem into a place where they will take it as booty and ruin it b'chilalu, and they will defile Jerusalem. Asibosi panai mehem, I will turn my face from the people of b'chilalu at tzifuni, and they are going to defile the things that I have hidden, the things that are the hidden treasures of the temple will be defiled. Uvo'u ba'pritzim b'chilalu, and pritzim, people that are not uncivilized bums will come in and destroy and defile the temple. Asay harato ki haaretz mal'a mishpat tamim. Make the chains, because the land is going to be full of crimes that are worthy of death. In other words, capital crimes will be committed in the streets. Murder will be committed. And the city is full of this of lawlessness and abuse of one or the other. I will bring in the worst of the nations, and they are going to inherit the homes of the people of Jerusalem. I'm going to destroy the arrogance of the pride of the strong ones in the current nation of Jerusalem. They're so arrogant, they're so proud. Again, the several things Ezekiel has been criticizing. One is arrogance, the other one is abuse of power, one of the other, and the other is idol worship. And they will their holy places, meaning the places of idol worship, are going to be inherited by the enemy. This terrible horror comes, and people are going to be looking for some kind of peace, some kind of consolation, but it will not be there. Hoveh al hoveh tavo. One thing will happen after another. In other words, one bad event after another bad event. Ushmu al shmuatia. One piece of bad news will pile on top of the next piece of bad news. It's not going to end. Uvikshu chazon minavi. People are going to look for some kind of a vision from a prophet, some kind of a vision of consolation that there's going to be an end, but they're not going to find it. V'torah tovad mikohen. They're going to look for some teaching from the kohen, from the priests. They're going to look for a teaching, something they might be able to hold on to, but they won't be able to find it. They're going to go to the rabbinic leadership, to the rabbis, and look for eitzam mizikanim. They're going to look for some kind of advice that they might be able to use to save themselves or something good, but they won't be able to find it. HaMelech Yisabol, they're going to look to the king, look for some kind of political leadership to get them out, but no, the king is mourning, there's nothing to get from there. V'nasi, they're going to look to the princes, the officials, for some kind of leadership, but rather Yilbash Shemama, he's also dressed in destruction. Videi Amaretz, and then if you look at all the people of the land, all the people in the land, Tibahalna, the hands of all the people in the land will be shaking and trembling, Midarkam, because of their ways. As Seosam, that's what I'm going to do. According to their ways, I'm going to handle them, and I'm going to judge them according to their judgments, because this is just via Du'uki and Adonai, and they will then know that I am God. I know this is verse 27. I wanted to read the entire chapter, even though it was long, because it's unpleasant reading, and to try to get it behind us. I did say in the beginning I was going to refer to Jeremiah 24, because Jeremiah 24, there was a vision of the good dates and bad dates. And God told Jeremiah then, who was talking in the same time period in history, that of the people that leave, that get exiled to Babylon, of the Jewish people, there's two groups. There are those that are the good dates, which, and we learned there, are referring to the people that get exiled to Babylon, and Yehoiachin, the king who was exiled with them, and the bad dates, meaning the people that stay in Jerusalem. Jeremiah was drawing a line saying that the destruction is going to happen to here, but the salvation is going to happen to and through the people that are in Babylon, and through the leader Yehoiachin. As we know, his grandson Zerubbabel was the leader who did come back and help reestablish the second temple. So the seeds, while this awful destruction is being predicted in the land of Israel to the people that remained there, the seeds of salvation are also sown among the people of Babylon that are listening to this horrible prophecy that Ezekiel is stating now. Thank you so much for studying chapter 7. Looking forward to studying chapter 8, and of course the entire book of Ezekiel together.